Hello guys, we are back in new fanfic, and if enjoying this then please share and like. Part 2. Let's start the fanfic. Iruka cut in an irritated figure with some frustrations leaking out of his ears in a cloud of smoke. His eyes were fixed to the menace that was in his class. A menace he was forced in his every day of life at the academy to teach. Not that the boy ever paid him any attention when he spoke. He'd thought he would be relieved if the boy wasn't taking any interest in his lectures, but it annoyed the crap out of him whenever the blonde spotted that look of pure indifference. There was even a day he had been tempted to run up to the boy and drag him out of his class, by his hair. The thought had been crushed instantly when he thought of who birthed the boy. The mother would certainly kill him. Literally. No doubt about that. Uzumaki Naruto. Iruka couldn't even begin to remember the day the blonde had so even paid attention to his class. From day 2, the blonde had always put on a look of indifference, never taking part in anything. As much as Iruka wanted to throw the blonde out of the class, he couldn't do that. Not without a noteworthy reason. It would get him in trouble with the Sandame. Not to mention that woman who would snap his neck in a mother fury. Iruka could remember the day he'd made a surprise test just to fail the blonde. Imagine his surprise, when the little irritation who didn't pay attention to his classes, managed to pass his test. Even though half of the class failed because the test was a difficult surprise test that wasn't meant to be passed by everyone. Loath as he made to admit, Naruto wasn't stupid, he was smart. It had pissed him to no end when the blonde had so graciously offered to set the test for him to make them a little difficult. That wasn't all. There had been a day he had caught the blonde looking outside the window. Not listening to him, he had inwardly smirked at the thought that came to his mind. Imagine to his utter dismay when the blonde had not even stuttered or even looked red-handed at being caught gazing outside the class. The blonde had so simply said, "I can't repeat what you said because I wasn't listening." Iruka had been left flabbergasted by the response. Normally a student would try to initiate something that he didn't say or try to make an excuse. But the blonde didn't try anything. He stated the situation as it was. No attempt to hide the truth. The blonde had made it clear to him that he was only in the academy because his mother had forced him and the Sandame was blackmailing him to do so. To show how useless the academy was to him, the blonde had gone as far as to say he could do the graduate exam as he was, despite being in the academy for just 2 weeks. If Iruka had his way around everything, he would have just given the blonde the damn exam just so he could get out of his sight. Some teachers could just ignore him and the blonde would indifferently return the favor. But that was something that Iruka couldn't do. No matter how hard he tried. The other teachers have tried all tricks to get the blonde to be held back in his academics, but that was useless since he already knew what they taught. When it came to knowledge, the blonde had it in abundance. He had even found it bitterly amusing when one of the teachers came back to the staff room grumbling after he'd gotten into an argument with Naruto over the history of Konohagakure. It turned out that the blonde knew more about it than the teacher. Iruka sighed, and settled on the edge of his desk, looking at his students. No one was absent today, which was good. He didn't feel like teaching anything. Well, since they haven't been in the training grounds for some taijutsu demonstration, he decided it was best to take them there. "Okay class, settle down," Iruka said a bit loudly. Nobody heard the chunin, or they did just chose to ignore him in favor of continuing with the chatter. If Iruka hadn't become used to this familiar occurrence, a vein would have been throbbing on the side of his forehead right about now. "Shut up." That touched the right spot. No matter how many times his loud voice did the trick, Iruka couldn't help but smile in appraisal of his kid's silencing jutsu. He always felt content and would smile happily when the jutsu did work its magic to quiet down the little ones. It was a pity to Mizuki though. The chunin couldn't do a better job than he did. Then again, Mizuki was just his assistant. Naturally, he should be the one getting things done quickly. "We'll be going to the training ground today for an exhibition on the academy taijutsu Mizuki has taught you," the chunin said. His announcement was welcomed with smiles by the students who would have anything other than his so-called boring classes. Yeah, right. Uruka knew they loved him despite calling his classes boring. They just liked going out there as it was a place they could talk however they wished and they could also watch their beloved Uchiha beat up someone. Uruka failed miserably to suppress the urge to frown when he met Naruto's eyes head-on after his announcement. The look was still indifferent, the eyes still blank of any emotion, as most of the time. It really frustrated the Chunin that he could never read the blonde because he always hid everything behind that untouchable mask of indifference. You're in trouble, Shikamaru muttered to Naruto, seeing the look their sensei was giving the blonde. While he didn't seem like he was interested, he knew full well that Naruto and their sensei had a rather rocky relationship, if their interactions could be considered a relationship. Uruka held something against the blonde. He was certain of this. But Naruto didn't seem to care. No, he just didn't care. Furthermore, he paid no mind to whatever Uruka had to say, and was willing to go as far as to brush off the Chunin. Naturally, that made the Chunin infuriated with the blonde. It appears so, Naruto said. I do wonder what sort of trick he has planned for me this time. Probably going to get you matched with the best in taijutsu, Shikamaru said. If Naruto could get beat, it would embarrass him and force him to pay attention to class a bit. At least that is what he thought Uruka had in mind. It would also be some payback for the many times Naruto has had the class laughing at the Chunin. Uruka had it better though. The other teachers. Shikamaru shook his head. How he pitied them. Naruto was just downright blunt in his assessment of the academy and its education. He made no attempt whatsoever to mask his disdain over the curriculum offered. The fact that they taught simple taijutsu and offered no real training on the expectations of the shinobi world did no better. Shikamaru could concur with the blonde on that note. His father does tell him bits about the shinobi world and he knew academy teachings offered little comfort for what was out there in the wild. The ones who suffered the most were Nun clan children, and those from not-so-shinobi families. Shikamaru didn't have to suffer because his father made him train his mind at home. He was learning clan techniques, so were other children from clans. The others weren't getting any training whatsoever and they continued to look towards the day they become shinobi with false expectations and blind hopes. Just thinking about it made the Nara heir sigh. Naruto snorted upon hearing Shikamaru's response. Like hell anyone in the academy could embarrass him. From what he has gathered so far, Sasuke was the top dog in the field. He knew the Uchiha better than anyone. Sasuke may be better than him executing that damned fire jutsu, the Uchiha has never beaten him in taijutsu, even when he does go easy on the boy, just so no to wound his pride too much that it will earn him a Sharingan enemy. I don't have any interest in participating in anything. But I guess I won't have a choice if I'm forced, Naruto said. His eyes narrowed at the Nara heir. An idiot, not the least. The Nara was smart, even so more than Sasuke. Naruto doubted he could win against the Nara in a battle of intellect. The only problem was that the Nara made no effort. He made no effort in anything whatsoever. Naruto believed the only time the Nara would get serious would be in life-threatening situations. He will force you, Shikamaru said. At this stage, Choji decided to partake in the conversation. You should try to get along with Iruka-sensei. That will make your life a lot easier. You won't have to worry about him trying to trip you over. At least we don't have to worry about teachers because we won't be seeing much of them from next year. You just have to survive this year. I doubt we are ever going to hug and kiss, Naruto said. If I survive this year without suffocation by this environment, I will consider it an accomplishment. He suppressed the urge to frown from the knowledge that there was still a number of months before the year ends. It's not so bad, Naruto, Choji said with a smile. You just have to loosen up a bit and you'll enjoy it as much as I do. That said, Choji felt a sudden urge to fill up his crying gut with some chips. Are you guys just going to sit there, or are we going to follow the others? Kiba's voice sounded, breaking the three out of their little ice. You seem a little happy. Feeling your luck against Sasuke, today? Choji asked, looking at the Inuzuka heir as he got up along with Naruto and Shikamaru. Yeah, I have been training really hard since my last match up with that bastard, Kiba responded with all the confidence he could muster. Choji doubted it would make any difference and Sasuke was anything but a bastard. The term just came to mind because Kiba was just an idiot before Sasuke's eyes. He couldn't fault the Uchiha for having such thoughts. It was improbable that the Inuzuka would do something genius in front of the Uchiha. Not when he lost the little rationality his mind has when he is one-on-one with the Uchiha. I hope you do well if Iruka picks you, Choji still said. Kiba just grinned. He knew he was going to do well and then all the girls would follow him instead of that arrogant idiot. He could almost see himself happily suffocating in the warm hugs and kisses the girls would be giving him. Shikamaru wanted to keep his mouth shut as opening it would rouse a troublesome dialogue with the Inuzuka, but he couldn't help himself. Don't dream too much, he said lightly, having noticed Kiba's dreamy look. Kiba scoffed. Shikamaru was incapable of doing what he could. Who was he to tell him anything? He looked at Naruto at the corner of his left eye, as opposed to responding to Shikamaru's light warning. Though Naruto could feel the look from the eyes of the brash and arrogant Inuzuka heir, he didn't bother to react to it. In his days being in the academy, there were some people that he would rather not befriend, especially stupid people. His mother may not agree, but what Kushina didn't know wouldn't hurt her. It may wound him a bit, but all reasons pointed that he was justified in his decision and that made him feel good. Shikamaru and Choji were alright. They didn't bother with stupid questions. In fact, he could relax with the former while reading his book and the Nara heir lost in the mystery of the clouds above him. That was the perfect friendship. The conversations did carry some weight, and much more worthwhile than discussing which girl was hottest in their class with Kiba and other idiots in the academy. Although Kiba has been tempted to call Naruto an idiot in a couple of occasions, he knew better. The blonde gave the genius of their class a run for his money. Still, that didn't make him like the blonde. He carried him above others, almost like he was their superior or something. Well, at least he had something to poke fun about with the blonde. He wasn't going to start it now. The four reached the training grounds at the academy, with the others already in waiting. No need to be at the front to hear whatever that Iruka had to say. The four chose to stay at the back, wonder about their own business as Iruka started with his prepared short speech. Okay guys, today we are going to do some demonstration. I want to see if you have grasped the stances you have been taught. You are gonna have to execute the stances in a fight, Iruka said. First up, I want two girls to volunteer. The lively Ino Yamanaka was quick to take center stage. Another girl followed suit. This caused the class to form a circle around the two girls for everyone to see clearly. Remember, this is just a friendly spar. No need for anything harmful, Iruka said. He got them to do the. Naruto's look of indifference twisted into a look of disdain as his eyes were brutally forced to witness this shambolic chicken fight between the two girls. Really? His eyes were just screaming at his hands to pluck them out to save them from the horrors. How could academy kids fight so pathetic? It made watching turtles do a 80 meters sprint all fun. Even their teacher had the face to show his displeasure in the scuffle. It wasn't considered to be a fight. Not by any chance. 100-year-old grannies could fight better. Ino did win. Cheers to her fans. If it was a comedy show, Naruto wouldn't have been blamed if he had uncharacteristically thrown tomatoes at the two girls while shouting, "You suck." It was just horrible, and he felt relieved when they stopped doing whatever they were doing. It was even an embarrassment to think that Ino was associated with him and was a clan heir. What were these parents teaching their children? Ino walked towards Naruto as Iruka begun talking once more, calling two more girls to demonstrate proper academy taijutsu. That was pathetic. If I was the one who taught you, I'd wish for an execution, Naruto said bluntly at the blonde-haired girl. Ino huffed. As if you could do better, she said. Seeing the look Naruto gave her, she huffed once more, pink tints on her cheeks. Naruto was a better fighter. She'd seen him beat bullies older than him. He took after his mother. I haven't been training that much, okay. I would be shocked if you said you trained at all. I think even a child who started walking a day ago can do better than that, Naruto said, once more bluntly. Ino glared at Naruto for his responses. She was used to it, but that didn't mean it made her smile when she hears of it. She was tempted to even curse him. But it wouldn't do any good. He was her Black Knight after all. If you think I suck that much, why don't you help me? Yeah, like you want to train instead of hanging out with your friends, Choji said, earning himself a glare from Ino. But it was the truth. Hence the boy only shrugged. Looking back at the ring, Iruka already had Sasuke at his corner, his eyes looming above Naruto. Naruto, why don't you come here and spar with Sasuke? Naruto shrugged. I'd rather not, the blonde said. I insist, Iruka said rather forcefully. Naruto stood still. Kiba took the chance to mock the blonde. What? Can't fight without your mother cheering for you. Mama's boy. Naruto didn't look at Kiba, but he still responded, Kiba, regardless of what you eat and whatever possesses you, do not speak of my other. That said, Naruto went on to face Sasuke, who was smirking at him. How he wished he could just slap that smirk off his face in a second and go home to do something useful. I thought you were going to chicken out on me, Sasuke said with a smirk. Naruto wanted to frown. He took no joy in exchanging cheeky remarks with anyone. He could state his observations in the way they were without coloring anything, but an exchange of a talk like this wasn't what he came here for. No wonder he didn't like Kiba's company. Still, he resisted the urge to frown, and put on his indifferent mask, looked at the young Uchiha for a few moments before forwarding his eyes to the Chunin teacher on his right. Can we get this over with already? Naruto wasn't the only one who resisted the urge to frown, Iruka did. Ironically, it was because of the words Naruto had said to him. The Chunin teacher sighed before looking between the two boys. He knew that they were not hostile to each other, and mostly came to school together. Sometimes it was Sasuke's mother or Naruto's mother who came around after school, sometimes the two boys went home together. Still, they weren't exactly friends. Iruka knew that Sasuke wouldn't want to lose in this sparring session. There was no one who took his academy studies seriously than Sasuke. The Chunin thought perhaps it was because the boy was burdened with a lot of expectations. He was a brother to a prodigy, and cast in the shadow of his brother. Naturally, he has to put more effort in his work to step out of that shadow. It was a line of thought that made Iruka confident that Sasuke wouldn't play with Naruto, but would do exceedingly well to fulfill his expectations. The blonde had stolen the Uchiha's spot as the top dog in the last real test he had them right a few days ago. This was a chance to redeem himself. And Iruka had his fingers crossed, praying that Sasuke does so with flying colors. In his anticipation, Iruka decided to forego all proper traditions before a friendly spar. Begin. He simply shouted. Sasuke lost his smirk. He matched Naruto's mask of indifference as he readied himself for assault. His brother has always told him to hide his emotions during a battle, for that will make him difficult to read. He could never read Naruto, unless he decides to give out that look of complete utter boredom when the situation calls for it. The young Uchiha darted towards Naruto straight on. It was an impressive speed for an academy student. As soon as Sasuke reached Naruto, he jumped up slightly before twisting in mid-air. His right foot was sent straight at Naruto's head. The blonde jumped back slightly to avoid the kick that would have sent him to the side. As soon as Sasuke landed down on the ground, he charged at Naruto once again, flashed a left hook which was blocked, then another, blocked as well. He attempted a right punch straight at Naruto's face. The blonde caught the punch, held Sasuke's fist firmly, before his right foot stomped on the Uchiha's left. He then yanked Sasuke towards him and grabbed the Uchiha by his shirt's neck. I have been training longer than you have. Itachi may be teaching you taijutsu, but my teacher is better than him in that regard. I have beaten you before, while holding back. Do you think you can miraculously do better than me, Sasuke? Naruto asked, in a low whisper, just so only the Uchiha could hear him. Sasuke gritted his teeth and tried to headbutt Naruto, but Naruto used his hold on the Uchiha to push him back while leaning back slightly. The fact that his foot was still on the Uchiha's made him off balance owed to his push. Naruto took his foot off Sasuke's, allowing the Uchiha to balance himself. The blonde looked up for a moment. Shall we end it? We have dinner tonight at your house. Sasuke winced at the thought. Their mothers would certainly go at it if one of them won. It didn't matter who won. Both he and Naruto would suffer from their exchange. Sasuke had seen it when Naruto got better marks in the first real test. Those women had made some sort of a bet, and it was downright annoying when everything became heated debate about who was better. Surprisingly to everyone around, Sasuke nodded. He smiled though, a bit forced. You owe me the next time we train with Itachi, he said before looking at Iruka. I guess you can call it a draw, he said before walking away. Iruka frowned, said nothing for a few moments, allowing the words Sasuke had said to him to play over and over again. He didn't get what he wanted. Frustrating. At this rate, Mizuki was going to have his way. If Iruka's hearing was working quite perfectly, he was sure he heard the Chunin say that he would get the blonde into the training grounds and accidentally hit him hard while teaching him something. Sighing, Iruka looked at his students before speaking. Take an hour break. And be back at class after which, he said, a bit lowly, and walked away. Wow, I have never seen Iruka-sensei so down before, Choji said, looking at the retreating form of their Chunin teacher. You really did a number on him this time, huh? He added, addressing Naruto. The blonde merely sighed, walking towards his favorite tree to do something useful. Shikamaru decided to return to class quickly to get some much-needed sleep while Choji followed because his school bag was in class. His possessions were there as well. As he settled down beside the tree, Naruto didn't take out his book as he would have liked. He was faced by a mob of girls. He looked up to them. What? His tone was sharp. Stay away from Sasuke-kun, and stop trying to compete with him. You can never be like him or even better him. You're a nobody. How boring. To think that he had been made to come here to this place just to listen to this nonsense. Worst of all, to be creeped out by the fact that Ino hanged with such company. The girl was smart. How could she lower herself to bow before this crowd and follow the usual chants and parade? Naruto was certain that another reason Shikamaru didn't like eating with him at lunch was that he feared these fools. Apparently, everyone was afraid of the fangirls as they could do anything. He had even witnessed them give Iruka some death glares. Naruto wouldn't even be surprised if the girls plotted murder if someone made their prized Uchiha look bad. Naruto didn't fear them. They were just pathetic girls he could beat up with his eyes closed if they tuned on the violence volume. He has been in some sort of one-sided bad blood with them because of the perceived closeness to their Uchiha. His stating of the fact that they were going to have dinner at Sasuke's house must have been the breaking point. The blonde looked just behind the girls. Ino was standing there, looking conflicted. Naruto just sighed. He has ignored the fangirls when they turned their attention towards him. He knew it bothered the girl that she couldn't do anything. Well, she could. The consequences were just not good for her. Naruto took out his book, flipped it, opening a page before responding. I heard you the last time you spoke, he said. Now will you be kind enough to leave me alone? I can't read in peace while you're standing there. Are you dismissing us like that? Someone shouted. Naruto suppressed a wince the loudness of the voice. His eyes fixed on the girls. It was a rather stern look that clearly told them to piss of or else. They may be idiots filled with images of Sasuke in their heads, but they knew danger when they saw it. Heads held high, the girls walked away. Ino took the time to crawl beside her black knight. Once more again, she curled up beside the tree, knees pressed against her chest. I'm sorry. If Naruto thought he had no emotions or did not care for the blonde, then he had to crush this thought right away. It wasn't the first time that the girl sat so pathetically sad like this when bad things happened to him. It bothered him greatly. He wanted to pull his hair because he failed to understand why it bothered him so much to see her so miserable. I'm sorry, Ino repeated again, eyes locked down with the ground. You've always been there for me. Always. Whenever I call for your help, you always help me out. But when you need me, I can't do anything. I just watch, she whispered sadly. That miserable tone. He hated it. She never used it before the academy. You shouldn't bother with it. I handle them. Naruto tried to be dismissive about it. I know you can handle them, Ino said. But you already take a lot outside the academy. Naruto frowned. And here, they still call you worthless, a nobody, a loser and other bad names. You're not worthless. Loath I may to admit it, you're just better than Sasuke. You're not trying to be like him or anything. You don't deserve it. Most of all, he was her Black Knight. There are a lot of things that we deserve but never get them, Ino. I know, but I'm in a position to stop them from calling you unpleasant names they hear outside. I'm your friend, but I'm afraid to do anything because I might lose their friendship. I can stop it, but I'm afraid and I comfort myself by coming here. It even bothers me knowing that you can handle them, but can't stop them from saying whatever they want. Naruto frowned. He wasn't going to read his book. But that wasn't the problem. This kind of conversation he was having with Ino was the problem. Honestly, he hated being put in this kind of position. It bothered him. Ino worried because she cared for him, just like the Sandaime and Kakashi. Strengthening his mask, Naruto opened his mouth to speak. I cannot tell you what to do. But I don't need you to fight my battles. I can do that. On another note, what do you see them anyway? You're smart, they are not. You wouldn't understand, Ino said. I won't disagree there, Naruto sighed. Just don't worry about me. I can handle myself. What they say doesn't bother me. Compared to what he has taken from the villagers, a bunch of idiotic fangirls couldn't even as much as scratch him. He didn't spare them a thought. They were not worth it. It isn't a matter of whether it bothers you or not, Ino said. Why couldn't he get it? Your inability to do anything to stop the situation from occurring is the problem. Naruto said, eyeing the blonde briefly before looking into the empty space ahead. Finally, it bothered her because of it. Naruto has always helped her. She felt some guilt because she couldn't help him, especially when it was her friends bothering him. She should be stopping them. But she was caught between two things, and she didn't know what to do. If you don't want it to bother you so much, do something about it. Perhaps then you will feel better, and he won't be forced to go through another conversation like this. I'm not like you. Really. You've always been strong and head-on. Was it all just a mask? Of course no. Ino raised a voice a bit. Her expression changed a bit as she carefully laid out her next words. How about I buy you ramen later on today? I know you love it. Just don't tell anyone. That's cool, but do you really think I will tell Sasuke? He doesn't even take interest in you. Nor even thinks of you, Naruto said, earning a glare from Ino. Trust me, I train with him sometimes, I used to live at his house. Don't you think I should know better? Think of something better to do other than fawning at Sasuke because he sees you as annoying girls. He will not notice you. Ino glared at Naruto. He just killed her mood. But she knew he should know Sasuke better. Speak more like that and you'll have that ramen on your own. Naruto gave a nonchalant shrug. I wouldn't complain either way. I do, however, do enjoy the meal when someone is buying. So, I will keep it down. The blonde glanced at Ino for a moment, his expression a bit serious. A word of advice. Things start small, and eventually grow. Don't let your crush grow, Ino. You will turn out to be an annoying little girl and a failure for a kunoichi if you grow up like this. Watch it, Naruto, Ino warned. Naruto just dismissed her warning with a wave of his hand. I wasn't done, he said. Ino, you're smart. Don't let this fangirl attitude consume your every thought. Sasuke is nothing special. You're something else. You shouldn't be throwing yourself like this, you're not cheap. If I had any interest, I wouldn't allow you to run after me, rather, I would run after you. That said, Naruto went back to his book. Ino slapped both her cheeks and looked away from Naruto. A few minutes later, the damn class once more again. What Naruto would give just to be locked away from this hellish academy. What has he accomplished or even learned that is worthwhile? To be more precisely, what has this academy taught him that will further help him keep his mother safe and his own life safe? The answer came quick as a striking lightning. Nothing. He had told the Sandaime of this again and again, but the old man and his mother keep telling him that even though he doesn't learn anything academically, the academy was still good for him. He had to make friends his age, they argued. Still, Naruto saw the glaring holes this time-wasting academy was putting into his usual training adventures. Oh well, he was here. There was no use brooding over it over and over again. The situation wasn't going to change. He wasn't going to go against his mother's wishes. At least on something like this. It sort of gave her hope that he could have a normal childhood. He was still young, and could still grow up with a few good friends. Naruto hadn't thought of that. The only perfect world he had thought of having was one with him and his mother. A bit bitterly, he used to wish for one with both parents. Make the best out of the situation and try to grow around it, he told Tamari. But here he was trying to run away from a situation his mother had brought to him. Why couldn't he live by the very same words he preached? Naruto didn't like to believe that he was a hypocrite. Far from it. Application in this situation was just a bit difficult. But he understood that brooding over it would only make him miserable, and that would hurt his mother. Kushina wanted to see him smile and play with other kids. His priorities were ensuring his mother was safe and that she was happy. If he kept resisting, she would only frown at him. Naruto sighed, looking at the back of Ino, seated in the front row. There is time, he thought. That girl was troublesome though. Thinking about it gave him a slight frown. So Naruto shifted away from her. He hadn't been lucky to take off his gaze from her without notice. Shikamaru spoke, causing Naruto to turn his eyes towards the Nara air. You look like you're thinking deep, Shikamaru said. He was sitting on Naruto's right hand, at the rear row. His gaze turned towards Naruto's object of interest for a moment before lazily eyeing Naruto once more. You haven't told me, how did you come to know Ino? She doesn't seem to be like your type. Naruto gave a noncommittal shrug. You didn't ask, he said. Right, Shikamaru said. He realized he didn't really want to know how the two met. Shikamaru eyed the blonde with a faintly curious gaze. Naruto noted, but chose not to comment on. The Nara weighed on his thoughts for a couple of seconds before releasing a breath. My father wants me to befriend you, the Nara said. It was easier this way than being sneaking about it. Naruto was too smart to remain oblivious of it. And it would be too damn troublesome to be caught in that situation and be forced to explain himself. Saying it now meant he didn't have to trouble himself with anything in the near future. If Naruto was surprised, he didn't show. His response didn't even strike a precise spot, it merely kept one guessing. I see, the response came easily enough. You're not surprised, Shikamaru stated. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, he added. Shogi at my house after the academy. You up for it? Why not? I could do something to sharpen my mind while killing some time, Naruto said. 3 hours later. Hokage office. The Sandaime Hokage smiled warmly when his favorite blonde walked into the office. He has laid claim for longer than any of his predecessors, as well as his short-lived successor. Academy done for the day? Hiruzen asked. Despite his question, he knew quite well Naruto couldn't ditch the academy because his mother wouldn't be happy with him, if he did so. Naruto responded by giving the Sandaime a slight nod of his head as he made himself comfortable of the chair in front of the Sandaime's desk. He was rather pleased to see that Jiraiya wasn't present. The man was rather persistent in his hunt for some involvement in his life. Naruto reasoned it was better to let the Sannin suffer the cold winds for some time. He was smart enough to know that Jiraiya had his uses. If the man was willing to offer his help, who was he to deny it? The man was a powerful shinobi, one taught by the professor. Stupidity and ignorance would be the only substance that leads him to miss out on a chance to learn something from the man. Naruto looked at the Sandaime Hokage with a curious gaze. A brief flash of memories played through before his lips parted. I had a rather interesting conversation with Shikaku-san. Oh, no surprise was evident in the Sandaime's aged face, but the curiosity was hardly hidden. Naruto leaned back to the chair, stared into the eyes of the Sandaime, trying to configure his thoughts a bit. Yes, he said, taking a pause to think once more. I appreciated his honesty when I asked if you'd sent for him speak to me. Shikaku is good person. I've known him long enough to know he wouldn't lie. Besides, lying would have been troublesome to the man, as he would say. If he figured telling the truth was the best option, then he would do so. The Sandaime had to keep his mask locked firm when Naruto's curious gaze fell upon him once more as the blonde studied him intently. He reminded himself that the blonde learned reading people. His mental defensives were always on check when he was around those curious eyes. It slightly bothered him that Naruto was never subtle when he studied you. You have really been pulling all strings to change me and keep me happy, Naruto said ever so calmly. What do you think is so special about me that you're willing to do almost everything to ensure all is well? I know you well enough to conclude that you're only thinking about the figure. Naruto took another pause, narrowing his eyes further when the Sandaime's mask held up. Is it perhaps something you fear? I would imagine that would be the case. The third released a long breath before relaxing. How bothersome that he had to be on guard against a 7-year-old. Why do you think there is something I fear, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked, his tone lacking any curiosity. By that Naruto assumed he may have been right. That I may perhaps leave this village with my mother if I believe it is good for both of us. The chances of that happening are very high, at least when I become strong enough to protect her. There is another issue of Danzo. Does it scare you that I may be tempted to join his brutal crusade in the hunt for power if he offered? Sarutobi frowned. Naruto was dead on. He really should have had Kushina restricted Naruto's entry to Minato's study. Then again, Kushina would have just told him about Danzo anyway. You're maybe right, the third said, not wanting to outright admit that the blonde was right. I just want to create a better and secure future for you, in this village naturally. I want you to grow strong and show Konoha that you're indeed a hero. Perhaps then they will accept you. I know what this treatment you receive has put a rather negative image not only on Konoha but on humanity. That would be because Naruto knew that Jinchurikis were frowned upon in every land. It wasn't just Konoha, but every other village. Konoha may be the one to have tormented him, but Naruto looked far abroad than just Konoha. Perhaps that is because he'd considered leaving this village. Negative image. Naruto repeated, looking to be in thought. I have asked myself this question. What if everyone else who hates me just disappears? Would I be free then? Would I be able to live in a hate-free world and walk along all streets without a heated glare trying to murder me? Do you know what the answer my reasonable mind gave me, old man? Hiruzen just frowned. The answer was obvious. An ideal world. Nobody could fault me wishing to be happy. A year ago, if someone had offered to make that wish come true, I would have jumped to the opportunity, Naruto said in an honest statement. This was why the Sandaime did everything in his power to make Naruto happy, why his mother pushed for him to make friends. Perhaps he would grow up with his generation in peace, and they would accept him. He wanted the blonde to see that there were nice people out there and that not everyone was bad. Itachi opened up a lot, and my mother always tells me to be optimistic and never lose hope, because once you lose hope. Naruto let the words hang, the Sandaime could figure out the rest. I have hope. Perhaps it is the only thing that makes me sane. Perhaps no, rather, the love for and of my mother. It is the fact that you still hope that I try to create a better future for you, the third smiled sadly. I fear I may not live long enough to see you laughing happily, but I still want to do something. I don't want to end my tenure without the assurance that I have done all I could. Silence settled in for a few moments. But it was broken when Jiraiya crashed into the office through the window. The Sannin seemed to notice that Naruto was in the office because he didn't say anything before he put on a nervous smile and spoke. Naruto, the Sannin wasn't sure himself if he was greeting the blonde or just calling his name. Naruto glanced at the Sannin for a moment. Jiraiya, his eyes went back to the Sandaime as he stood up. I better be going. As Naruto turned to leave, Jiraiya mustered his courage and spoke, wait. Can I talk to you, Naruto? His tone was almost pleading. Some other time, Naruto said. The remaining time if the day is reserved for my mother before we go to the Uchihas. You can talk to me when I'm available. That is, if you don't suddenly disappear. Jiraiya would have flinched, but Naruto clearly had no malice or hatred in his tone. It was just light and he felt as though he was merely stating a fact. For this reason Jiraiya just frowned, but nodded nonetheless. I will be around, he proclaimed rather strongly. Naruto stopped for a moment, turned around to face the Sannin. Jiraiya reasoned it was the firmness of his tone that caused this reaction from Naruto. The blonde looked at Jiraiya inventively. The Sannin noted it was possibly the first time that Naruto had really looked into his eyes. The blonde said nothing though. He turned around and soundlessly felt the office. Jiraiya looked at his sensei. That is a good sign, right? That depends, the Sandaime responded. Are planning on disappearing or are you going to stay grounded and take your responsibility? Uchiha compound. Dinner with the Uchihas. For Kushina this was always a pleasant time for her and she knew well enough that Makoto enjoyed this as well. There was an unwritten pact between the Uchiha and the Uzumaki. The main family and the Uzumaki were family, not like family. They may not be related by blood, but they treated each other as family. It was for this reason that Kushina thoroughly enjoyed her time in these occasions. In one of those days, Fugaku had decided to join them. The Uchiha head didn't usually join them during their dinners, not because he just didn't want to. But the man was always busy with the police force and the council. In recent months, he hardly came back here. He was always locked up in his office at the military force headquarters. Naturally, Sasuke was sitting on Itachi's right hand with their mother on the left side, Fugaku sitting by Sasuke's side. On the other side of the table, Naruto was pleasantly sitting by her side, as always. So Naruto, Fugaku, started, looking over to the blonde, taking a temporary pause from eating his meal. Makoto tells me you've been doing excellently well in the academy. Naruto gave a barely noticeable nod. That is the case, he said. His tone displayed no form of pride in his record. It was obvious he took no joy in knowing that he was doing excellently better than other students. Fugaku hadn't expected anything less from the blonde. He may be young, but he was an interesting child. He reasoned that losing a father the day you're born, getting a biju sealed inside of you, and then subsequently hated by the village could change a person. Naruto aimed higher and the Uchiha head believed that the blonde would reach what he sought. He had the determination and the will to push on. Fugaku didn't want to frown at the thought of comparing the child of the Minato to his youngest son. Sasuke and Naruto were two different people. On his own right, Sasuke was a genius. Fugaku didn't deny that, this despite the fact that he rarely gave the boy interest. He reasoned that appearing uncaring would force the boy to try harder to surpass his brother. So far it has seemed to work, or so he liked to tell himself. Despite knowing that he was only stating the obvious and what everyone else knew, Fugaku didn't hold himself from stating it. You're not thrilled by it. Well, almost everyone, of course he is thrilled. Kushina butt in, a bit loudly. Right, Naru-chan. Predictably, Naruto's response was to smile warmly to his mother. Of course, mother, he said. Itachi inwardly shook his head. He assumed Naruto was agreeing with his mother on a different note. While the glaring truth was that he wasn't proud of his achievements from the academy, Itachi could assume the blonde was still happy that he was proving him, the Sandaime and Kakashi wrong. The academy couldn't teach him anything and he would do well even with his eyes closed. At least his presence at the academy gives someone Sasuke can compete with, Makoto added, a little bit down. Of course she wasn't happy that Naruto was doing better than Sasuke. Not for the wrong reasons, but because she was losing her bet to Kushina, and the woman took glee in it. Fugaku nodded in agreement. Competing with Itachi isn't really fair for him. As much as he may try to be like his brother, Sasuke can never quite pull out another Itachi. Fugaku's words seemed to do nothing but crush the raven-haired boy beside Itachi. Even though the Uchiha head saw the deflated look on his son's face, he didn't bother trying to explain the meaning of his words to the boy. Noting Sasuke's despair, Itachi nudged his little brother a little, offering him a small warm smile. What father meant is that you don't think like me, you don't have my determinations, experiences that drove me to become what I have become. Because of this, you can't be another me. However, his smile widened a bit, it doesn't mean you can't surpass me one day. I know you will. That lifted up Sasuke's spirits. Once more, the boy beamed up, casting away the gloomy clouds above him that had threatened to drench him in cold depression. Makoto smiled at her son as well. I also believe that you will surpass your brother, Sasu-chan, she said warmly. I will not disappoint you, Okawa-san, Sasuke said, enjoying the faith his mother and brother have in him. I know you won't, Makoto said. Sasuke looked at Naruto, gave the blonde a look that clearly said, hear that? My brother thinks I will surpass him one day, not you. So does my mother. Naruto merely shrugged in response, but that didn't deter Sasuke's spirits. The boy continued to be happy. Naruto could have pointed out as he was now, he could graduate from the academy by the end of the year. But he knew for certain that the Sandaime wouldn't permit it. Even his mother would snap if he thought of leaving the academy. Kushina, Fugaku said, his tone mildly curious. I hear your clan is going to be restored, or at least you're going to make an attempt to do so. All eyes turned towards the Uzumaki woman, who had a small smile on her face. It was kind of a smile Naruto had never seen on her. No, she just reserved it for when she thinks fondly of their clan. At least he reasoned. It was likely the case nevertheless. You belong to a clan? Sasuke asked, a raised brow, looking between Naruto and his mother. The only thing special about the two he knew was that they were the family of the late Yondaime Hokage. He wasn't aware Kushina was from a clan. Kushina nodded, her smile turning sad slightly. The Uzumaki clan, she simply said. Sasuke tilted his head, clearly not satisfied by the response. He has never heard of anything about that. He reasoned that it could have something to do with the fact that Naruto was a Jinchuriki and the fact that he was the son of the Yondaime Hokage. They were a prestigious clan who resided in their village called the village hidden in whirlpools. They were blood relatives of the Senju clan and had a healthy relationship with the clan. That relationship extended to Konoha. The Shodai Hokage's wife was from the whirlpools, an Uzumaki woman. Kushina here once lived there before coming here, Makoto explained. You say, were. Makoto nodded but didn't explain, Kushina did. My clan was peace-loving. We never took part in the shinobi wars despite being allies of Konoha, which was always in the center stage of the wars. Despite this, my clan was known throughout for possessing strong chakra, a strong life force, and most of all, we were masters of Fuinjutsu. Minato is renowned for his use in Fuinjutsu. I was in fact the one who taught him a couple of things. Unfortunately, my clan grew too powerful, and the fact that we never participated in wars meant that our shinobi kept growing. During the Second Shinobi World War, a combined army of Kiri and Kumo attacked us. The clan was wiped out. I only survived because by that time, I had already transferred here in Konoha. So, the blonde was not only smart, a Jinchuriki, but he was from a clan as well. If two villages had to combine their forces in order to fight them, then they had to be powerful. Naturally, Sasuke didn't dare think that the Uzumaki could be a match for the Uchiha. Still, to think that Naruto's clan was able to survive in a village of its own and grow so powerful that other villages felt threatened was something else. He may not know much about the clan, but at this moment, decided that the Uzumaki were worthy of respect. So you're not clanless, Sasuke remarked, with a small smirk, eyes firmly at the blonde. No, Naruto said, feeling threatened already. The blonde asked with a raised brow. Sasuke scoffed. By who? There are just the two of you. You're far away from threatening the Uchiha. Something clicked in Sasuke's mind. As this is why you wish for the clan to be restored? Yes, Kushina said with a nod. I still believe that there might be survivors out there. Hopefully, when Naru-chan grows up he will find them, right, Naru-chan? It was a conversation they once held, and he had promised to bring the family back together. Naruto knew that his mother has other reasons for wanting the clan to be restored. He could make a few guesses. But it didn't matter because he would do anything to make his mother was happy. Of course, mother. The Uzumaki clan will be restored to its former glory, Naruto said, looking straight at his mother. Uncharacteristically, he wore a rather serious expression. It was a bit out of character because he always preferred a smile when addressing his mother. Kushina merely smiled at her son, before looking back at Fugaku who was continuing from where he had left off. You do know the political consequences for this, how it will affect young Naruto. Kushina nodded. The Sandaime explained everything to me. In fact, it was his idea. Fugaku noted that Naruto hadn't smiled when Kushina said those words. The Uchiha head smiled inwardly. He really wished the boy was his son. Really. He must know the Sandaime's motives for proposing such an idea, Fugaku thought. Naruto had no attachment to Konoha other than his mother. If something were to happen to the woman, the blonde would leave the village. No doubt about that, he reasoned. The Sandaime realized the only way to tie down both mother and son was to give something the mother wanted. Naturally, Naruto would follow his mother's lead, and judging by the look on the blonde's face, Fugaku could say it was going to work. What a sly old man the Sandaime was. Kushina probably accepted it because she believed it would create a family for Naruto, give him a healthy environment. Fugaku didn't believe for a second that Kushina wasn't aware that the Sandaime had other motives. Still, Naruto read underneath quite well for his age. Fugaku suppressed the urge to laugh because he knew that even Naruto twisted the third's hand, by using his love for him to get what he wanted. The two obviously cared for each other, but were not above manipulating each other. It was a rather unique situation. I see, Fugaku said. If there is anything you need, talk to me. Mito was an Uzumaki. Since no one is here to claim the Senju compound, I figure you may be in pose position to inherit everything. Naturally, you will be faced with opposition. The Uchiha head rose from his head. Itachi, come to the police force HQ when you're done. That said, the man disappeared. Hi, father, the Uchiha prodigy said monotonously. Naruto gave the Uchiha a glance, but said nothing. The rest of the dinner went along silently well. A week later, Kushina always enjoyed the sweet moments she spent with her son, especially when it was like this, enjoying a meal in their house. Soon to be ex-house. She liked the Uchihas, they were family, but this was real family. The only part of the family that was missing was Minato. He wasn't here with them. How she wished he could be here for them, give them one of his stupid smiles. For so often Kushina has allowed her loss to get the best of her, she has allowed it to get a hold of her emotions and led her into a fit of tears. It shouldn't be like that. It was even more troubling when she had to rely on her Naruto for comfort. It bothered her that he had stopped crying just to be strong for her. She hated her weakness. Naruto has always been strong. It reminded her of when she was younger. She was always strong, always dealing with her problems head on. She smacked any problem she faced to a pulp. But what had become of her? Makoto was right, she wasn't like her old self. She should be the one comforting Naruto, not the other way around. Still, Kushina was proud that she had a son so strong mentally. He didn't allow for anyone to push him around. Kushina smiled sadly, looking over the table, where Naruto was seated, enjoying his dinner. She looked up as his eyes met with hers. He gave her a curious glance. His lips parted as if he wanted to say something, but he shut them. Kushina assumed the curious gaze was summoned because of her sad smile. Such a sweet child, always worried about his mother. I'm sorry, Naruto. I haven't been the best of mothers. It is a little embarrassing to think that I have to cuddle up with my 7-year-old son in my moments of weakness. Kushina's sad smile turned into a nervous one, she complimented it with a nervous chuckle. If she hadn't been eating, she would have scratched the back of her head. Naruto shook his head, a bit firmly. You have been the best mother. I couldn't ask for more in what you have given me. His response was just as firm as the shaking of his head. You wouldn't ask even if there was something you needed, Naruto, Kushina said, her smile all sad again. Naruto didn't refute that. He knew she was right. Thank you for speaking to Makoto, and thank you for being such a wonderful son. Naruto smiled at his mother, eyes brightened a bit, his tone laced with some of happiness. I do what I can, he said before adding. But it wasn't my idea to speak to Makoto. It was Itachi's. Kushina didn't find that surprising. Not the least. I guess I will thank him as well. But it is your thought that counts the most. Honestly, you act like the adult sometimes. I should have been the one comforting you when you were crying. It is not a sign of weakness, mother. You have always protected me from the villagers who tried something on me. You have been a mother, my protector. The battle against the villagers is one I couldn't win, but you were strong for me when I couldn't do anything, Naruto said, with a small smile. I don't know what it feels like, but you lost someone who became your friend when you were still at the academy. You lost a part of you. I can't replace that. Being there for you as you have been for me is what I can do. Our bond only grows stronger when we rely on each. How far her child has grown. Kushina wished Minato was here. But that was just a wish. This was the reality. It was just the two of them. Regardless, the day you feel like crying, no matter how old you're, come to me. As your mother, I will comfort you, Kushina said in a motherly tone. Naruto nodded with a warm smile that was only reserved for his mother. I will remember that, he said. If you keep like this, you will make a girl happy one day, Kushina said, smiling as she did. I wish you were like this with Ino-chan as well. Naruto suppressed the urge to frown. He didn't think about girls. Showing a bit of his warmer side to Ino was something he wasn't willing to do. He wasn't an emotionless zombie. He just felt only his mother deserved his kindness. Then again, Ino has been always there. Even now at the academy. That was the thought that wanted him to frown. If his reasoning was that only his mother deserved his warmer smile, then at least Ino deserved something as well. He may have been the one to be bailing her out on a regular basis, but then in her own way, she was always been supportive. Though he may never admit it to her, she was one of those people who helped him keep his faith and hope in humans being capable doing what was right, being able to change and do things without expecting something in return. She forces me into talking more often than I like, Naruto said of Ino. Kushina actually smiled at this. That is more like Ino, she said. I might even encourage her to drag you out for something to eat like she did last time. You wouldn't do that, would you? Ino is a smart girl, but when it was just the two of us eating, I regretted agreeing to go with her in the first place. I don't want to go through that hell again. Kushina merely chuckled and waved off her son. At least she can force you to do what you don't want. Regardless, it's good for you and I am really happy that you can hang out with someone your age and just talk about random stuff. I am really happy. Naruto had to contain himself from frowning. He just nodded with a smile, a small smile. To keep himself from being a two-faced hypocrite, he had to try. He told Tamari about working around their issue, try to get used to it, they were still young and would eventually grow familiar with each other. Damn his mouth. He had to once again apply those words. A few nights later. To think that things would come to this. Itachi shook his head. It had to be done, he told himself. He had listened well to Naruto's thoughts. The blonde was willing to do anything to protect that which he loved the most, anything. He had told himself that there was nothing wrong with it. Naruto had spoken with conviction and Itachi had no doubt the blonde would follow up to that conviction. He also knew that Naruto would understand his situation. For this reason, Itachi stood atop of Naruto's house in the middle of the night with the blonde beside him. So nothing has solved the matter, Naruto said, in a seated position, his legs folded, head cocked to the side, not looking at anything in particular, but at the empty space ahead of him. Itachi shook his head. My mission to Kiri was to prove whether it was indeed true that the Yondaime Mizukage was being manipulated by the Sharingan. That proved to be true, and it was the masked man doing it. The Uchiha paused for a moment, studying the blonde, who was now looking at him with an expressionless mask. I see, was all Naruto said. The revelation did no good with the elders. They believed that the Uchiha were behind it, and in turn my clan decided to push the coup d'état ahead of schedule. My father would have ultimately used you, technically the Kyuubi, to gain more power in his fight, Itachi said. Danzo ordered me to rid of the clan before they initiate their plan. If the coup d'état were to occur, with the Kyuubi likely to be released, it would further make me miserable and likely put my mother in danger, Naruto said. I assume the Sandaime isn't aware of this. Itachi shook his head. He still believes they can talk things out, he said. He then walked up to Naruto, kneeled before the blonde, his expression a number of emotions. I can't kill Sasuke. I can't do it. Please Naruto, watch over him for me. I know this will deal a major blow on his mind, I need you to take care of him. Itachi was pleading, almost begging. The request did nothing but cause Naruto to frown. I guess I owe you that much. But if he becomes a problem to my mother, I will deal with him painfully. If he does anything that will risk her safety, I will kill him with my own hands. Itachi just nodded. That was the best he could get out of Naruto. But just to be safe, he would speak to the Sandaime after the mission. Why kill everyone though? Danzo believes it is necessary, or else they will revolt at a later stage. Naruto frowned. Itachi, your objective is to stop a coup d'état from occurring. There are innocent families and children who know nothing about the coup, are you going to kill them too? If yes, better just warn me when the coup will occur so I can leave this village with my mother so we don't get caught up. Itachi didn't let his emotions show. If I don't do it, Danzo will. I would rather they die honorably by my blade. Naruto stood up. If you kill everyone, Sasuke will lose it. He will become something uncontrollable and I will kill him before the year ends. You know how gullible he is. My mother will be affected by Makoto's death as well. She can't afford to lose a true friend, he turned away from the Uchiha. My mother will be left broken. Should that happen, I will kill Sasuke, and hunt you for the rest of your life. I don't particularly care for them, but Itachi, think about what you're doing carefully. You care for Konoha, and Sasuke. Killing everything will lead to Sasuke's death. You know I will kill him if my mother is wounded. I imagine for you to avoid that, you'd have to kill me as well. But my death will mean the release of the Kyuubi. Ultimately that will see Konoha seeing another rampage. Itachi narrowed his eyes, what are you saying? I understand that you want to protect Konoha. Killing only those who can harm Konoha is the best choice for Konoha, Sasuke and me. Look at it, you avoid a coup d'état, and your mother gets to rebuild the clan anew, while being there for Sasuke to ensure that he doesn't fall into the wrong path. I'm sure you can save your people from Danzo. If you don't want that, We have a problem because I must also protect what I love. Your options are simple. Kill only those who are threatening Konoha, and we will get along, kill everyone else, and leave Sasuke, which in turn will hurt my mother. In response, I will hurt you by killing Sasuke and hunt you down. To avoid that happening, you'd have to kill me as well. However, I will not stand for that to happen. I will even go as far as to let the Kyuubi out to protect myself. Your mother will still be in danger if you do that, Itachi pointed out. Naruto shook his head. My mother can restrain the Kyuubi. In its current form, it wouldn't be difficult. Mind you, she once was a former host, and she is a seal master. Her clan developed Biju sealing techniques. Itachi frowned knowing that Naruto was right. The choice is yours, Itachi. That said, Naruto started to walk away. Even with my mother alive, will you look after Sasuke? Take him as your brother. Itachi called out, considering his options. Not for a second did he doubt Naruto's words. The blonde was willing to do anything possible and impossible to protect what he loved the most. He was willing to do that as well. So he could understand. With your mother alive, my mother will not suffer. I can manage your foolish brother. I owe it to you at least for everything you've done for me. The world was a funny place. Today you were revered as a hero and tomorrow the very same people spoke your name as if it were a curse. The same people who sang praises to you in their dreams now wished for the worst to happen to you. Naruto was almost amused by the situation in Konoha. The beloved Uchiha Itachi, a prodigy, the light of the famed clan, which had become an object of resentment from the hating minds of Konoha's villagers, had become one of the villagers' traitorous. Or so their ignorance led them to call him. Uchiha Itachi was now being spoken in the same sentence as that immoral Orochimaru. When they sent curses to the snake, they sent some to Itachi. He had betrayed them and turned into a diabolical power-hungry monster who would slaughter his own clansmen. At least that is what Konoha believed. It was ironic that the so-called light turned out to the dark side, as the villagers now believed. Itachi was supposed to be the savior of the Uchiha. Hell, some were even tipping him for the mantle of Hokage once he grew old enough. Those dreams were crushed in just one night of bloodshed. The ridiculous thing that had amused Naruto was a reaction from Konoha's people to the tragedy that had fallen to the Uchiha clan. They cried for the Uchiha as if they had been on laughing terms with them. Uchiha Itachi was hated. They despised him for killing members of the Uchiha clan. They spoke so many curses about his name, and it had yet to be 24 hours after the killings took place. It was only the afternoon, with the villagers having discovered the tragedy early in the morning. Naruto had heard many people saying so many things. It made him laugh. In the inside, of course. Stones would be thrown at him if he suddenly started to laugh at this situation. A number of the Uchiha clan members had been murdered in cold blood. There was nothing funny about that. Yes, there was indeed nothing funny about it. Naruto may not care, but it wasn't funny. It was sad really. Yet, he could not sympathize with them. The second the situation was highly amusing. It wasn't the killings themselves that were amusing. He had yet to lose himself, or pass the barrier of insanity to be laughing at the deaths of other people. Yes, he may not care, he may not have offered nay sympathies, but he was still a person. What amused Naruto was the reaction of the villagers in relation to him. The ignorant fools suspected had the Uchiha clan for the Kyuubi rampage. They had gone as far as to show blatant distrust to the clan. They showed no love to it. It wasn't hidden to anyone. It was a reason that he could get along with the clan. Both were seen as reasons for the rampage by the Biju sealed within him. The villagers had cried for the Uchiha. They acted like they had cared all along. Yes, they demanded for Itachi to be hunted down for murdering members of their most powerful clan. They cursed his name while crying tears for the clan. Tears. Tears of sadness for crying out loud. Was it just him who found it amusing, after everything Konoha had put the clan through? It was like if he suddenly died and they started crying for him, not of happiness, but of sadness that he had died. Sad that their beloved Uzumaki was dead. Ridiculous. It was beyond the realm of possibilities, yet something akin to it had occurred. Of course, Naruto didn't delude himself to even think that they would cry for him if he died. Hell no. They would laugh and rejoice Monday to Friday. Hell, they would even honor the day he dies as the day of freedom. Yup. Naruto could really see that happening. Naruto shook his head, sitting inside the Sandame's office. Perhaps he was losing it. He really needed to get in touch with his inner self and reevaluate his thoughts a bit more if he wanted to appear sane. He had appeared insane about an hour ago. It was the reason he was even here in this office with the Sandame staring at him with a concerned look. Worried old man he was. Jiraiya appeared worried as well. Naruto didn't get what they were so worried about. He saw nothing unnatural in his actions earlier. It had been perfectly normal for him to act as he did. Again, perhaps he was losing it. What had happened was that while the villagers cursed Itachi and consoled the remaining members of the Uchiha clan, they had taken their knives and glared at him. They blamed him. They freaking blamed him for Itachi's actions. They thought he was the one who had manipulated the Uchiha. He was a demon after all. He had corrupted their prodigy. Him. He had done it. Uzumaki Naruto, a 7-year-old, had manipulated a Mangekyo Sharingan wielder, an Anbu captain. And they were dead serious about it. Itachi had been friends with him. They knew. Since they couldn't understand it, their logical conclusion was that the big old demon was manipulating the Uchiha. If not, his vile nature had driven him insane. Yes, that explained why he would suddenly do something so outrageous. Hell, there was even a rumor flying around that the vile demon had manipulated Itachi to do what he did as revenge to the clan for manipulating it 7 years ago. That was crazy. These people were not rational at all. What was Naruto's reaction when he was confronted with this? He had laughed. Not just any laughter. A full-blown laughter. He'd rolled on the ground clutching his stomach as he laughed. He had even let loose of a few tears as he laughed. It had been a disturbing sight, as he heard someone whisper. His laughter hadn't been a happy one though. No, it was a disturbing laughter that would make Orochimaru wipe off a tear on his left eye. Perhaps he really was losing it. But he couldn't help himself. Their stupidity, blatant ignorance and foolishness had just reached a new low. How wrong could they be? He was to blame for everything. Everything. Next up, the rain won't be coming and they were going to blame him for it. The fools. He was the one who talked Itachi out of killing everyone. If it hadn't been for him, there would be no clan to speak of. But he had done it once again. Uzumaki Naruto had saved the day, yet they still blamed him for the bad. At least something good came out of all these. The Uchiha clan would be trusted once more. Yes, they would be. If Itachi had known all along that it would take for his clan to be trusted again was for such killings to occur, what would have done? Probably nothing. Itachi's goal wasn't to save the clan, but Konoha. Regardless, he would be smiling wherever he was. That thought made Naruto frown and he wanted to yell, "Cursed bastard." While Itachi made his dream come true, and his clan was becoming loved once again, his existence had taken another knock on the ground. This had done nothing but put deep holes in his hopes. Filthy humans. He was really growing to dislike the creatures that crawled inside this village. Perhaps they were not even human to begin with. Yes, Naruto wouldn't deny that possibility if someone said it may be true. How he wished there was someone who had the same thoughts as him. If things continued like this, he was going to lose it. What of his mother? Just the thought of his beloved mother, Naruto beat down all his disturbing thoughts. He couldn't afford to have his mother worried for him. She had to worry about herself. So lost in his thoughts, Naruto hadn't even realized the Sandame was talking to him. By now, the old man was waving his right hand in front of his face with a frown, matched by Jiraiya. Naruto blinked 4 times. "You said something," Naruto said to the Sandame. The old man cringed at the lack of emotion on the blonde's tone. It was way sharper than usual. Not a good sign. Perhaps Naruto needed to be taken to Inoichi just to check his mental stability. That laughter hadn't been normal at all. If anything, the Sandaime had really thought Naruto had lost it. Well, he couldn't fault the boy. He had been bottling up things for too long. Still, that reaction wasn't going to make him sleep good at night. He doubted he would even sleep at all. He had to take measures or else Naruto was going to be insane soon enough. That laughter had just reminded him of Orochimaru, his traitorous beloved student. Naruto was his student as well. He was very smart, and learned fast. He just lacked the people to call him a genius. Sasuke was called a genius, yet he was nowhere close to the blonde when it came to intelligence. Why did you laugh, Naruto? Hiruzen asked, his tone calm, with some emotions in it. Why indeed, Naruto said, tilting his head to the right. He rested it on his right palm. He knew the answer, just taking his sweet time. I guess I found the situation to be hilarious. It wasn't funny, Naruto, the Sandaime said, it came a bit hard than he intended. Fortunately, Naruto didn't seem to have noticed it, or he just ignored it. The Sandaime couldn't really tell. Really? Naruto gave the old man a look before adding. They blame me for Minato's death. They said I killed him. Mind you, I was just a couple of hours old or even less when he died. Then they continue to call me a demon. Me, the son of their beloved hero. Next up, they blame me for Itachi's actions. Full-grown men and women, glaring down at a 7-year-old, accusing him of manipulating a prodigy, an Anbu captain. How is that not funny? Jiraiya swallowed. Naruto was way too calm. His tone was quiet and there was some nonchalance in it. It was just wrong. No one should be this calm and nonchalant about this issue in that manner. No one. Even he wouldn't be calm. He could question the villagers' behavior and their intelligence, but Naruto's reaction was just crazy. He could have understood it if the blonde had insulted or lunged at the villagers. Even if he killed someone in the process, Jiraiya would have understood. And he was sure even the Sandaime would have understood that it was inevitable. But to laugh like a madman, no one had expected it. Even the villagers had been left bewildered. Some of them had even turned away and walked away. That laughter sent chills to anyone who could think logically. Had Naruto's mental barriers finally broken? Jiraiya crushed that probability. No, not Minato's son. We have a serious mess to deal with. When other villages hear of this, they will be tempted to act, the third Hokage said to Jiraiya, ignoring Naruto's question. You agree with me, Jiraiya, when I say even so, this is way more important for us. Jiraiya nodded. The Anbu can deal with that, and your advisors as well as clan heads can restore calm to the villagers. We don't want them burning Minato's house or getting any other funny ideas. It will be difficult though, the Sandaime sighed tiredly and looked at Naruto carefully. Naruto, he took a pause there, watching the blonde carefully, are you really okay? I'm fine, Naruto said, with a wave of his left hand. Or, are you asking me if I've lost it? The Sandaime breathed in slowly and then breathed out. His eyes shut for a moment before responding, yes, he said. I'm still sane, and the Kyuubi has not tainted me, Naruto said, his tone still sharp. However, I don't see humans down there. There is only trash. I wonder, would Minato still sacrifice me even if he knew this would happen? Both Jiraiya and the Sandaime tensed. Naruto chuckled, it was a bitter chuckle. Yes, he would do it again, and again, and again. Right until there is no life in me. What are we going to do, sensei? Jiraiya asked, his expression deadly serious. I'm willing to take them out of the village to keep them safe. He is not going to last if things continue like this. Naruto looked at Jiraiya. Oh, you watched Orochimaru lose his mind. You don't want to watch me fall into that line as well. How sweet. Perhaps mother was right when she said that despite your glaring failures, you are a kind person, the blonde said. But have no worries. It would take my mother's death for me to lose my mind. The fact that Naruto had said those words was even more disturbing. The Sandame opened his left bottom drawer behind his desk, and took out a bottle. This was really needed. He opened it and halved its contents. Hiruzen looked at Naruto once more. They needed to move away from this subject. He would consider Jiraiya's option if things don't change. As loath as he may to admit, things wouldn't change anytime soon. And he needed Naruto to be safe. Naruto, did Itachi say anything to you? Did you talk to him yesterday? No. Naruto lied so simply. He knew the Sandame wanted to know if the Uchiha had told him about what he was going to do. The Sandame knew Itachi would tell him. The man knew he was alike to the Uchiha in some ways. But if the old man was going to put on an act and pretend as if he was not sure about it, then Naruto was going to keep his mouth shut. Oh, the Sandame said. Sasuke-kun is going to need a friend, can I trust you to be there for him? I don't know if his mother will be enough to keep him from falling. Naruto merely nodded. He closed his eyes for a moment. At least the Uchiha has secured its future. Konoha will no longer distrust them and in turn, the clan will grow those strings that were cut off and attach itself to the village once more. The dead can thank Uzumaki Naruto again. The Sandame lit his pipe, while Jiraiya finished the Sandame's sake. That had been the bitter truth. Neither Jiraiya nor the Sandame were willing to say it out, but it was the truth. How it sickened Jiraiya. I still can't believe that they would blame you though, Jiraiya said. I mean, even if I was high, I wouldn't go that far. They are looking for something to blame. Itachi was a kind person to them. He was the only Uchiha who didn't act like an Uchiha. He was their rising star. In just one night, everything changes, Naruto said to Jiraiya, without looking at him. Their damaged brains can't understand why Itachi would act like that. Deep within, they want to believe that someone had manipulated him. Still, it doesn't give them the right to act the way they did to you. It's not fair, the Sandame said, his tone laced with some disappointment. Life has never been fair to me, Naruto said with a shrug. Before anything could be further said, Kakashi appeared in the office in a swirl of leaves. The Jonin had left the village in the middle of the night with a number of Anbu after the reality in the Uchiha clan compound had been discovered. Going by the books, the Sandame sent Anbu after Itachi. He had already spoken to the Uchiha by then, and knew the poor soul would be safe. Sending his Anbu was just a formality and just to avoid any suspicions of foul play. It would be disastrous if it came out that Itachi had been ordered to do what he did. The village's image would be shattered with the revelation. Despite the Jonin being masked, the Sandame could very well see that Kakashi was really worn out. He must have been running for hours, he thought mildly. He felt bad for sending the man on a goose chase. He knew they wouldn't catch Itachi. But it had to be done. You really look worn out, Kakashi, the third said. Judging by your appearance, I can say you didn't succeed. Kakashi nodded. We covered most ground but couldn't find him. Even when we tried breaking formation to move one by one to cover more ground, we still didn't find him. But I still believe he is still in the Fire Country. Right, he was. Itachi was still in the Fire Country. Naturally, everyone would suspect that Itachi had committed treason and run off, far away from the fire borders. The Uchiha had anticipated that and didn't move far away. The plan was to stay in one safe place and move when it was safer. That was what the teenager had told him when he had offered to give him a head start. I'm sure you tried your best, the Sandame said. Go rest. I will leave this to the hunter nins. By end today, Itachi will be in our bingo books as an S-ranked criminal. Kakashi nodded, but didn't leave. Even though he was a jutsu away from draining his last bit of chakra, he still had to know how Naruto was doing. He would even fall smiling if his body gave up while trying to ask the question. That is how much he cared for the blonde. How are you taking this, Naruto? Itachi was your friend, teacher as well, Kakashi said in a tired voice. The Uchiha had even trained Naruto more than he did, despite the fact that the teenager was always busy with Anbu, and military police force matters. As I can, Naruto simply said. He was saved from explaining things further when his mother literally broke the Sandame's door as he marched into the office. The woman rushed towards her son, and picked him from the chair like a baby. She put him down as she got to her knees. She had heard what had happened. And the moment she did, she'd rushed over here. Kushina engulfed Naruto into a tight motherly hug. Naruto did what he could, hug his mother back. Kushina had tears on her cheeks. She was crying as she held him. Naruto could feel it. "I'm glad you're okay," she said softly. Naruto didn't say anything. He closed his eyes. It was okay to put on a sad smile. As long as it was on his mother's back. She wouldn't have to worry about anything because she couldn't see it. In a rare moment, Naruto's mask slipped in his mother's embrace. "I'm fine, mother," Naruto finally said, his tone quiet, yet lacking the usual emotion it carried when his mother was involved. Kakashi walked up to Jiraiya. "Did I miss something?" he whispered. Jiraiya nodded and explained what had happened. Kakashi was disturbed, angry even, livid if we're just throwing words. He was getting enough of the villagers' tendencies. Their actions sickened him. If they drive Naruto to insanity, Kami-sama could forgive him. He would end up following Itachi in the bingo book. Giving one last look to mother and son, Kakashi disappeared before his thoughts became a reality. Sleep would do at this time. After a couple of moments, Kushina let go off Naruto, and stood up. She didn't let him away though. No, she still had her hands on his shoulders, keeping him in front of her. He heated glare fell on the third. "Hiruzen, what are we going to do about this? Formalities be damned. My son can no longer take this crap. I cannot watch this continue to happen, Hiruzen." Kushina's tone was way sharper. Unlike her usual loud threatening self, it was calm, yet so sharp. It made the third tense as he chose his words carefully. The woman was on a brink. Saying anything that wouldn't make her happy would probably make her attack him or the villagers. In this stage, the Sandame thought Naruto would join as well. "I know, Kushina," the third said, his expression showing his old age. "Once Makoto-chan recovers from the hospital and make preparations for the memorial, you will go to Sunagaku for a week or two while I settle things here. If by then your return is not welcomed, you will leave the village with Jiraiya. I can cover you for 4 years at most. But by then, you will have to return." Kushina nodded. "Let's go home, Naruto." She didn't say a word to Jiraiya or anything to the Sandame. Simply took her son and left. The Sandame leaned back to his chair. "You get to make things right, Jiraiya. Do not waste this chance." "I won't, sensei," Jiraiya said with a firm nod. "This will be good for Naruto. Why did you say they will only leave with me if things haven't changed after they return from Sunagaku? You know there won't be any changes. While they are with you, they won't get the chance to visit Suna. They will have to stay hidden. Naruto is still Minato's son. Some people don't need proof to attack. A mere look and they will be convinced. This time I've set up, will allow Naruto and Kushina to further acquaint themselves with the Subaku family. I still believe there is a future there," the aged professor said. Jiraiya nodded. He didn't disagree with that. "I'm going to get something to drink. If I stay here any longer, Danzo may show up. Knowing him, he will say something about Naruto that will tempt me to kill him." That said, Jiraiya disappeared in a puff of smoke. "Ah, speak of the devil. Hiruzen, we have to talk," Danzo said as he entered the office with his 2 supporters, Koharu and Homura. "There is nothing to talk about," Hiruzen said sternly. You have heard about Naruto-kun and have come here to demand that he be brought to your care." The answer is still no. "Hiruzen, you and I know very well that the boy is unstable. That behavior earlier clearly shows that," Koharu said. "He needs to be trained to control his emotions. What if he had lost himself and released the Kyuubi? Do you want to see this village destroyed?" The Sandame ignored Koharu. "Danzo, you have plotted behind my back for the last time. I've allowed you to do as you please for long enough. One more move, and I will have you executed for treason. I know both of you were on it as well. Itachi told me. He also told me that you had ordered for the entire clan to be erased. What were you thinking? The Sandaime shouted, banging his hand on the table, forgetting about a thing called secrecy. The third calmed himself. Naruto will be leaving Konoha for a while with Jiraiya. You have nothing to worry about. Now, get out of my office, I want to do my job. You can't be serious, Hiruzen. The boy needs Danzo. Koharu shouted. Koharu, you went behind my back when you ordered for the Uchiha massacre. Luckily, Itachi chose to kill those who knew of the coup. We still have a clan now. The Sharingan won't be extinct, the Sandaime said lowly. You're not Hokage. You have no power ordering my shinobi. If I ever hear you are doing it again, I will have you locked up in a cell for usurping my authority. I assure of that, Danzo, if you make a move towards Naruto, I will make you regret it. The Sandaime said. Anbu, escort my advisors out of the Hokage tower. They must never set foot until I say otherwise, and get me someone to fix my door. Konoha Hospital. Naruto wandered along the busy hospital with his mother steadily on his right hand. Both were heading towards Makoto's room. Not so surprisingly, the nurse didn't want to tell them where Makoto rested. His mother had turned on the menace to get what she wanted. Whilst his mother threatened to rip the woman apart, Naruto had simply watched it all with a look of nonchalance. After what had just happened today, he could care less if his mother killed someone. In the days of the past, he was willing to stop her from killing the foolish villagers, but now he wasn't going to do any of that. He hadn't stopped her back then because he cared. No, he just didn't like his mother dirtying her hands by killing filth. But now he could say he wasn't worried about that. If she killed one of them, it was a happy day for him. Konoha would have one more filth removed. He reasoned letting them die was a service to Konoha. These people were vile creatures. They polluted the village with a spirit of ignorance, hatred and foolishness. Their deaths would clean Konoha and make it a bit bearable for him and his mother. How could he complain over that? It is getting difficult to deal with them, huh? Kushina said to Naruto. She was also at her limit. She wasn't preaching the gospel at this time. Things needed to be reevaluated before she could preach again. At this stage, she was most concerned about Naruto's mental health above all things. Honestly, Kushina wasn't concerned about the state of the village. She was worried about her son and her friend. Above all things, Naruto stood. What would Minato do if he were here? Would things even be like this if he was alive? Perhaps not. Perhaps Naruto would still be hated while they hailed their Yondaime Hokage, their greatest hero. Kushina frowned at the thought. If only Minato had listened to her when she said it was better she reseal the Kyuubi inside of her. Naruto would have been living a normal life. She could be hated for all she cared, but as long as Naruto was able to live normally, she would have all reasons to smile. Now, she wasn't a matter. Her son was the menace to this village, or so the villagers believed. How it infuriated her. Still, she wasn't willing to give this village the middle finger. Mito had said the only way to conquer hatred was through love. She wasn't about to open her heart for this village to stab it all up. No, she believed as long as she continued to love her son and those close to her, she would rise above this hatred. They'd survived so far and were actually doing well. Naruto had been doing at the academy. He was finally adapting. He had learned to ignore the villagers while focusing on the positives of this life. And this had to happen to screw it all up. Yes, it is, Naruto said, in agreement with his mother. But we survived the first wave. We will continue to survive even this one. As long as we continue to have each other. Kushina smiled, nodding as they rounded up on a corner. It is puzzling how things can change overnight. Everything changes overnight. That horrible night you were excited about giving birth, but that turned out to be a nightmare. After birth, I had explosives tags all over me, and you had to go through the extraction of the Kyuubi, which nearly cost you your life, Naruto said quietly, a bit sad. It was okay to show emotions, he was in the presence of his mother. Regardless of all these things happening, As long as I have you, I will always look forward to tomorrow. Once more again, Kushina smiled warmly at her son. At least he was back to his usual self. That incident had really shaken her. But she was happy that Naruto was back at being Naruto again. No lasting damage was done. Naturally, if there had been damage, she would have hunted down those who caused it and ripped their flesh apart with her chakra chains. As long as we have each other, Kushina muttered. But when you grow up into a handsome man, you're going to leave your poor mother alone and run away with a girl. Despite saying so, Kushina didn't see that happening. She wanted for it to happen. But Naruto was too clingy to leave her. Perhaps when he does grow, things will change. It had to. For his own happiness. Why do you think I would leave you, mother? Besides, at this age, do you think I should be hearing about running off with some girl? I don't even get that kind of love, Naruto said, giving his mother a sided look. Kushina shrugged. Though I hate to admit it, you don't talk like a 7-year-old, Naruto. You're all grown up while trapped in a little body. But I'm not saying you must start reading those perverted books your teachers read. I swear if I find you reading those things. Naruto gulped, not at all too quickly. He may not have had the thought to read to those books, but if his mother said not to, he was going to nod as if he had the plan to read them. The books he read were fuinjutsu books and some elemental manipulation. He didn't have time for smut. I won't go that far, mother, Naruto said, as honestly as he could. I know you won't, Kushina said with a smile. He was all too focused on strengthening himself to be dragged into other things that could corrupt him. And he was too smart to be tricked into reading those books. Nothing further was said as the two finally made it to Makoto's room. The black-haired was lying on her back, covered with white sheets, wide awake. Her broken son sitting just beside her, staring into nothing in particular with a dark look on his face. A look that shouldn't be on a 7-year-old. Naruto shouldn't be the one to say. Not after how he scared the villagers. The atmosphere was just gloomy. It was sad, really. Sasuke was once a happy child. It was often amusing to Kushina when she used to see him pout when his older brother would say he couldn't train with him. Or when he looked embarrassed when his mother treated him like the little boy he was in front of other people. What had happened to that happy Sasuke? He looked emotionally dead. From what she had heard, he had yet to say a word to anyone. He refused to speak to the Anbu, or anyone for that matter. His mother hadn't been strong enough to say anything. Both were just allowing their gloomy thoughts to consume them. In Sasuke's case, dark thoughts. Very, very dark thoughts. If one entered the young Uchiha's mind, they would run away fast without turning back. Despite this, Kushina smiled, and looked at her friend. She walked over and hugged the older woman, smiling sadly. I'm so happy that you're okay. I don't know what I would have done if you'd died too, the Uzumaki woman said all too honestly. Upon hearing this, Naruto gave himself a pat on the back. Uzumaki Naruto had saved the day once more again. He had done right ensuring that other members of the Uchiha clan lived. His threat had been no means a bluff. He had been dead serious. And now it pleased him to know that his forcefulness had brought upon this result. Uzumaki Kushina wasn't lost. She still had a friend. The two women continued to talk while Naruto kept his silence. It was better to allow he adults do their talking. Besides, Makoto needed a friend right now. She needed someone to comfort her. Yes, he was that considerate, to Makoto at least. Can you take Sasuke with you? I was told he hasn't eaten anything all day, and he can't stay here all night. He needs to rest, Makoto said to Kushina after the Uzumaki had said her goodbyes. Sure, Kushina said. You once took care of my Naruto. Now it's my turn to look after your Sasuke, she added all too happily. Sasuke-kun, Kushina called warmly to the boy, but she was ignored. Sasuke-kun, Sasuke. The Uchiha didn't respond. It didn't seem like he had even registered any of her words. He merely stayed frozen, staring into the empty space with a dark look. Makoto frowned, but said nothing, allowing Kushina to handle it. She was too emotionally tired to be stressing out now. Kushina touched Sasuke's right shoulder, trying to get his attention. Sasuke-kun. She flinched when the boy gave her a sharp look. It was as if he'd just said, "What?" in cold words. "You need to test. Come with me." Naruto frowned. Any more of this and he would snap the Uchiha's fingers to get him to behave properly when his mother was talking to him. Before his mother could flinch again, Naruto walked over to the boy. He did a quick chop at the back of his head and the Uchiha fell down. He didn't even attempt to catch the boy. He wasn't that considerate to a person who treated his mother in such fashion. Kushina merely shook her head at this, but she said nothing. She picked up the unconscious boy and placed him on her back before Naruto decided to drag him to their house by his feet. Oh, Kushina had no doubt Naruto would go that far. "Kushina," Makoto started quietly. "Can I talk to Naruto for a moment?" The Uzumaki looked at Naruto before nodding. "Just don't take too long," she said, leaving the room. "Come closer, Naruto," Makoto said. Naruto did as told, and the woman held out her left hand. Naruto took it with his right. "Thank you, Naruto." Naruto raised a curious brow at her thanks. He presumed Itachi told her the truth. But there was nothing to thank him for. He said what he said for his own selfish reason. "What did I do to be thanked?" Naruto still asked the question, despite his flow of thoughts. "You saved my life and my clan. Sasuke will still grow up with a mother because of you. I will forever be grateful. If I had a daughter, I would give her to you." Makoto chuckled, knowing Naruto wouldn't accept that offer. "But I don't. I can only say thank you. If there is anything you want, anything at all, come to me. I owe you my life, so that will be the least I can do." Naruto shook his head. "You know you don't need to thank me, Makoto-san. He was cut off. My husband is dead. I'm widowed. Call me Makoto," she said, sadness in her tone. "I know why you did it. And I know things have turned worse for you. Regardless of your reasons, I was saved because of you." Fugaku was really shocked when he heard it. He said if there had been a ritual to make you an Uchiha by blood, he would order me to do it. Makoto pulled Naruto closer, playing his right hand on her chest as she gave him a warm smile. "No matter what people call you, don't listen to them. You, Uzumaki Naruto, are my hero." Naruto simply nodded in a speechless manner. Those were the words he never thought he would hear in his life. He'd heard her correctly. She called him her hero. He was in her heart. He, Uzumaki Naruto, was her hero. He had been recognized. The words may be coming from the mouth of the familiar Uchiha Makoto, but those were the words that came from the heart. Those last two words reached a part of his heart that he didn't know existed. The feeling he felt was so confusing that he walked away without another word. Kushina's house. Everything was back to normal again. Naruto was home, eating dinner with his beloved mother. Well, it wasn't that normal because there was someone else with them, someone who was quiet as a mute. Kushina looked up at Naruto. "I never asked. Do you like the idea of traveling the elemental nations along with Jiraiya? You two don't get well. So if you don't want him, we can leave with Kakashi." Naruto shook his head. "Jiraiya is just fine," he said. "The Sannin would do." Between him and Kakashi, the Toad Sage had more experience and was a lot more powerful. Besides that, Kakashi was not that suited for this task. "You mean to say Jiraiya is more useful?" Kushina said. That is what his words sounded like. "Sometimes I don't know whether I should be proud or sad," she mumbled to herself. "I mean that in a nice way," Naruto said. "Jiraiya is a Sannin. His reputation succeeds that of Kakashi. With him around, we won't have many people bothering us, and given that Jiraiya spends his time outside the village, he obviously knows the outside better than Kakashi." That was reasonable enough. But Kushina knew there was more, and Jiraiya is Konoha's main source of vital intel. This leads me to conclude that he has some sort of a spy network. While we are away, we can use his resources to find other Uzumaki who survived, Naruto explained. Kushina smiled. I like that idea. She said happily. All that happiness died when her eyes turned to Sasuke. He had yet to touch his food. He was just staring at it. She frowned. This was going to be difficult to deal with. Kushina moved closer to Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, eat up. If you don't eat up, you're just going to worry your mother. Please eat your food, Kushina said, in a warm, motherly tone. Sasuke ignored her. Sasuke-kun. He ignored her again. I know you're hurting, Sasuke. I understand, but you have to eat. Kushina tried to get his attention by placing her hand on his shoulder, but Sasuke batted it away, and snapped. You understand nothing. You don't get it. Don't pretend like you know what I'm feeling. He ushered a dark look at Kushina, his tone just chilling. And don't tell me what to do. You're not my mother. Naruto's look twisted and he got up from his chair. He grabbed Sasuke by the collar of his shirt, smiling at his mother warmly. Okawa-san, he said sweetly. Please let me worry about him. Just finish up. Oh, and whatever you hear, don't come. That said, Naruto, literally, dragged Sasuke towards the kitchen. You ungrateful little. He threw Sasuke at the kitchen unit. The Uchiha grunted as he hit the unit with his back. Naruto's right hand grabbed a frying pan, and bam! The thing hit Sasuke on his forehead, causing blood to leak out. We have been through worse than you, Uchiha. Naruto slammed his right foot on the Uchiha's chest, pressing him against the unit. Who do you think you're talking to? Look at me. Naruto pressed, earning a dark look from the Uchiha, but he just tossed it aside. The frying pan was still on his right hand. Talk to my mother like that again, and I will break your fingers, one by one. To demonstrate he was dead serious, he took Sasuke's left hand, bended one of the fingers with so much force that it nearly snapped. Grr. It was the third time Sasuke was letting out a pained sound. If you give her that look again, I will smack you with this thing again, Naruto said, glaring Uchiha. He let the boy go. Now, wipe that blood off your face and go apologize to my mother. I will be watching you. And eat your food or I will shove it down your throat. Naruto walked away, going back to the dining table. He settled down on his chair and continued as if nothing had happened. Do you think Tsunade will try to take the Senju possessions away from us if she does return to Konoha? Kushina gave Naruto a look, but before she could say anything, Sasuke crawled back to the dining table. I'm sorry, he merely said and sat down to eat his food, but not before sending Naruto a glare. Kushina just smiled. At least he was eating, she thought. She knew quite well Naruto hit the poor boy. Looking back at her son, Kushina responded to his question. Legally, once we claim it, Tsunade won't have any right. She has abandoned her village long ago. She has no say, Kushina said with a shrug. Naruto nodded. At least in the Senju compound we can have lots of space and I won't have to breathe the same air as the villagers, he said, a bit satisfied with that. Well, technically. I know, Naruto said. We will get lots of money as well. It is a pity we can't spend it as we like in this village, the blonde sighed. Well, I see what I can get in Sunagakur and as we travel. Kushina nodded. She smiled. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know when was the last time I walked away from this village walls freely. It will be good to get some fresh air. Yeah. Naruto frowned when he looked at Sasuke. Itachi had asked him to look after him. He should have said no. The spoiled brat was going to give him problems. We may have to take him with us, he added. Kushina actually nodded in agreement. He will need the time away as well. If is it clear his mind, he will have to get some fresh air, she said and looked at Naruto, unblinking. Please be nice, Naruto-kun. Sasuke is not like you. Naruto shrugged internally. At this stage, words won't do. Physical pain has to be inflicted for him to respond. Besides, do you think this world will wait for him to grow up? Sasuke only lost his father. Yet, he's acting like everything was taken away from him. Yup. They were talking as if the said Uchiha wasn't even in the room with them. Itachi was everything to him, Naruto. Sasuke adored his brother. After this, he has to be hurt, Kushina said. But Naruto wouldn't understand, so she didn't explain further. Seeing that the two had finished eating, Kushina spoke, "Go wash your hands, you two. I will do the dishes. Naruto, you know what to do." The blonde nodded. "Come on," he said to Sasuke. The raven-haired just followed him in a quiet mode. Once everything was done, Naruto said goodnight to his mother and had Sasuke follow him to his room. Everything was already prepared. Both took off what needed to be taken off and went under the red sheets. This night is going to be long, Naruto thought, seeing that Sasuke was staring at the ceiling with that dark look of his. Sleep, Sasuke. You still have tomorrow to think. At this rate, you're going to cripple your mind, and you'll be prone to more outbursts. Mind you, if those outbursts happen in front of my mother, I will break you." Naruto turned to the other side. "And you know I can do it, right?" It took a few moments, but Sasuke shut his eyes. When it came to his mother, Naruto didn't joke around. Even in his state, Sasuke was able to understand that. His earlier beating had been proof of it. The following day, Senju compound. With recent events, the academy had been closed. The Sandaime said it would be closed for at least 2 weeks. Naruto had no complaints. In fact, he couldn't have it any other way. If they suddenly decided that the academy wouldn't reopen until next year, he would gladly run around the village with a wide grin on his face, greeting everyone. Naturally, that was just wishful thinking. It would be a disaster for the academy to be closed for that long, and the Sandaime wouldn't make such a decision. The civilians and shinobi parents wouldn't like it either. Naruto could foresee a strike if such a decision was made. Everything was slow around the village. But within a week, things would calm a bit. The slowness didn't mean there wasn't a buzz of activity inside the walls of the village. The slowness was caused by the abundance of activities that needed to be fulfilled. Itachi had almost pleaded with him to look after Sasuke, and he was going to do that, in the best way he could. He didn't care if he had to break the Uchiha's legs in the process. Itachi didn't define how he should look after his little brother, and the older brother must know that between Sasuke and his mother, Naruto would always choose Uzumaki Kushina. Makoto was only released this morning, and as far as he knew, she was burdened with clan matters. Perhaps he should help her out. Surely there were going to be some paperwork needed to be filled, and the funeral arrangements for the slain clan members. The memorial service for everyone was to be held in 2 days. It was an event that will surely have Konoha in full attendance. Naruto looked at Sasuke, his expression displaying no emotion as the cold eyes of the Uchiha stared back at him. They were in the training ground within the compound. He'd decided that since Sasuke wanted to release some pent-up stress, it was best to hit the training ground. He wasn't that much interested in dealing with the emotional problems with the boy, he just wanted him to loosen up so that he wasn't a bother to both their mothers. Makoto told him something no one has ever told him. She told him he was her hero. Her savior. In Naruto's book, the woman deserved some sort of special treatment, and that meant looking out for her. "Don't use ninjutsu," Naruto said, laying out the instructions. "You can use kunai or shuriken, but no fireball. Do you understand those simple words, Sasuke?" That was the response Naruto received from the young Uchiha. So tempting. Naruto was tempted to walk up to the Uchiha and smack him around. Wasn't a response. He wanted a clear answer, not a mere grunt. He held himself though. Physical punishment had its own limits. There would be a time a beating wouldn't suffice. So it was best to give the beatings in a situation that was dire. Naruto wasn't allowed to continue with his thoughts as Sasuke darted towards him in fury. The blonde frowned. Sasuke wasn't thinking straight. He was just charging head-on, and he didn't doubt the Uchiha would mistakenly kill someone if he fought someone weaker in this state of mind. As Sasuke threw punches at him, Naruto just dodged them, moving back slightly. When the Uchiha turned to kicks, he blocked them, keeping his gaze firmly into the eyes of the raven-haired. With each dodge and block, Sasuke was growing frustrated. This was evidenced by the look on his face, and his strikes were becoming ferocious, vicious by the second. Around this time, Ino made an appearance, but she didn't say anything. She just settled at the back of the house, watching the two fight, her eyes firmly on Sasuke, even though she'd come here for Naruto. Worried about him, Sasuke threw a high-footed kick with his left foot, aimed at Naruto's shoulder. The kick was caught by Naruto's right hand. Moving shiftily, Naruto grabbed Sasuke by the throat and slammed him down the ground. His hands wanted to beat up the Uchiha. His feet wanted to crush him. But it was not worth it. Not when it would only serve to antagonize the Uchiha further. He really didn't want to deal with an Uchiha who was out to get him, and he certainly didn't want to make Sasuke an enemy. Your movements are sluggish, and you are leaving gaps in your attacks. You can't hit anyone when charging without thinking, Naruto said before hitting the Uchiha on the forehead, lightly. Your mind is clouded. If you want to train with me, clear your mind and don't leave your intentions so clear that even a blind man can see. Now go home, your mother is waiting for you. Not a word left Sasuke's mouth as he shot up. Looked as if he was considering hitting Naruto from behind, but he shrugged his shoulders and walked away. Ino smiled nervously as the Uchiha neared her. Hello, Sasuke-kun. How are you? Sasuke just walked past by her, not even bothering to look at her. As far as it seemed, the Uchiha didn't look like he had heard her. But Ino knew better. Sasuke had heard her. He just ignored her. She frowned. Welcome to the party, Naruto said, walking past the blonde. Ino followed him without saying a word. She was too engrossed in her thoughts to think of a reply. Her body just moved automatically. Ino became aware when Naruto closed the front door of his new house. He walked towards two trees that were in front of the house, and climbed up. Ino couldn't, so she sat down, her back pressed against the tree's trunk. Sasuke's become cold, Ino said sadly. I don't blame him though. He is going through a lot. It doesn't give him the right to ignore people though, Naruto said. His eyes looked down at the blonde. His treatment of you hasn't changed. Whether happy or cold, he still ignores you. That must sting. Ino frowned. It did sting. Naruto didn't care, just stating what he thought. He didn't understand what she felt for Sasuke. She didn't even think he knew where it stung. Shaking her head, Ino pressed down her thoughts to focus on the matter that brought her here. I overheard my father telling my mother about your episode. They said you lost your mind for a minute and that it was so serious the Sandaime considered taking you for a psychological evaluation, Ino said, her tone revealing her worries. So you came on to check if it was true that I lost my mind or not? Naruto asked. Yes, Ino didn't deny it, but I also came because I was worried about you. The Naruto I knew would have just walked away. You always have control over your emotions. So, when I heard that you were rolling on the ground in laughter, I thought perhaps you'd snapped. I'm fine, Naruto stressed the words. I merely laughed because I thought it was funny. No, he corrected himself with a shake of his head, it was funny and I couldn't help myself. It wasn't funny, Naruto, Ino nearly shouted. She calmed herself and repeated her words in a subdued tone. It wasn't funny. From where I was standing, it was amusing, Naruto said with a shrug of his shoulders. Perhaps I do have a twisted sense of humor. No you don't, Ino said, her tone hard. You hardly laugh at anything. I would have cried in that situation, not laugh. I don't think anyone in their right mind would laugh in that situation. So are you saying that I wasn't right in the head when I laughed? Are you suggesting that I momentarily lost my sanity? No, Ino said with a shake of her head. I'm not saying that, it is just that, no one behaves like that. So, we have to consider the possibilities. If I'd lost my mind, I would know, Naruto said, but then smiled, a bit sickly. Perhaps I did lose my mind for a moment. If so, what about it then? Ino shifted uncomfortably. I just came to see if you were okay, she said. Who will protect me if you lose your mind? Daddy, Naruto said. As much as you say I am a mama's boy, you are just as attached to your father as I am to my mother. So you can always call him when in trouble. Ha ha ha. Very funny, Naruto, Ino said. Is it true that you might go away? Yes, Naruto said. Just for a couple of years. We'll return before you even leave the academy. Oh, that was all Ino said before she fell silent. Uchiha compound. A sad plastered across Makoto's face when Naruto walked into her house, that usual look of indifference on spread across his face. He was his usual self. At least nothing was bothering him. She'd thought the hostile situation within the village would get to him, but it was pleasing to know that he was okay. Still, that look of indifference could all be just a mask hiding the underlying problems that lay deep within the heart. Makoto believed that Naruto was well capable of handling his emotions. In so many ways, he was like Itachi. He didn't need his parents to handle his emotional problems. He handled them by himself. Naruto was still young, he was just a cute little boy, but he could handle himself. Perhaps that little incident was good for him. Just to release some pent-up feelings. Hello Makoto, Naruto greeted, with a wave of his right hand and a small smile spread across his face. Already at work. Ah, he remembered, Makoto thought with a smile. Looking at the paperwork on the coffee table, Makoto nodded. I have to arrange everything myself. There isn't anyone available to help me out. Where is your mother? In a meeting with the Sandame, Naruto said, before he sat down on a sofa, just across the coffee table. She's finishing clan matters and making necessary arrangements for the visit to Sunagaku and our inevitable departure. Makoto nodded, smiling sadly. It seems like we'll all be busy trying to rebuild our clans. The Uchiha's military power disappeared overnight. I have to shut down the military police force because of this, she sighed tiredly in the end. Itachi didn't spare any. Huh. I guess it is to be expected, Naruto said. It is fascinating how the entire clan was able to rally behind the idea of a rebellion. I mean, the remaining members had stayed away from shinobi matters. So in battle, they were useless. Most of them were in the military police force. They were almost disliked as you were. Nobody really liked them. They didn't enjoy their time within the streets of Konoha. If there were 50 of you and were to sit down and discuss revenge on Konoha, wouldn't you all agree? Makoto asked. Possibly, but there is never such a thing as perfect unity in the shinobi world. One may have a different idea, but only agree with the idea because it was objective of the majority, Naruto said. He tilted his head, studying Makoto's features. I presume this was the same with you. Makoto nodded with a sad smile. I never agreed to the idea of the coup because I knew of the consequences it would bring. The whole idea had so many things to consider. But I was just a wife of Fugaku. My thoughts were not relevant. I just had to accept the choices made, she said. Same with Itachi. Makoto frowned slightly. Itachi. No matter. He was her son. She wasn't angry at him. It is sad, Naruto said. There are so many things that have occurred around you. Life-defining, yet you've never had a choice in anything. You've always had to take in everything and just accept them. Try to make the most in the situation. Makoto chuckled, in a mixture of bitterness and sadness. You make it sound like I am this weak person, who just accepts everything that comes to life. Naruto smiled with a shake of his head. In your case, it is not about strength or weakness. We always like to believe that there is a choice in everything, but the truth is that, this world isn't pretty. Freedom allows for free choices. Without it, we're only forced to adapt to the things life presents before us. But of course, we always try to change everything. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't. Naruto paused for a moment to allow the words to sink in. It may sound bad saying this, but you've got your freedom now. Makoto waved Naruto off. I know you mean well, she said. Leaning back to the sofa, she released a resigned sigh before looking fondly at Naruto. You've surprised me, she said. I guess I did, Naruto said. I don't know when I last had a conversation such as this. I may have been back when I was still a shinobi, Makoto said. When I got married, had children, I was never afforded the opportunity. Naruto raised an eyebrow at Makoto's words. Not even with Itachi. Not even with Itachi. Itachi spent more time with his father when he was younger. After the academy, it was his duty to Konoha and then Anbu, Makoto said. I just tried to be a mother to my children. Now you have responsibilities not to Sasuke only, but to the clan as well. And you have me to talk to about these kind of things, Naruto said, managing a small smile.